this week alone, the Independent actually reported that a third of millennials will be invested in cryptocurrencies in 2018, and that about 5% of those aged below 35 have already cashed in. My eToro account actually sent me a notification just a few hours ago, letting me know that because of the rise of people who have opened up eToro accounts, that cryptocurrency trading will actually be on the down low this weekend. So all of these and more will be tackled again today. So what else? Again, feel free to ask questions at any time via the questions box. Check out the attachment section as well, because there is a PDF copy of this deck available there, aside from any other resources. And again, this is a BrightTALK interview, so if you have a suggestion for who you want us to interview next, send it in the feedback box, and we'll make sure to get everybody's suggestions in the run. So without further ado, again, my name is Yulo. I'm a Senior Content Strategy Manager for BrightTALK's FinTech and Financial Services community. I launched and grew the community to over 200,000 subscribers. We started from scratch, realized that there was a massive interest in all things FinTech, and now we are the one of the top online communities in the industry. In terms of my background, I do have a master's in marketing management from the Saudi Business School in Barcelona, and I've been on the Women in FinTech Power List. Please do, get in touch. My Twitter handle is there and my email address as well. And now I wanted to also go over some of the past speakers we've had on BrightTALK. As I said, our community has grown massively, and we've been, really honored to have some of these amazing speakers on our platform. These ones that you see in front of you are just from the CyBoss conference we attended in Toronto, where we had live video interviews and panel sessions with these amazing people. And now on to another amazing person we're happy to have back on BrightTALK. Louis, could you please give us a brief introduction to yourself and your role at Revolut?
Sure, thanks, Ina. So yeah, hi, I'm Louis Tuff, and I'm the lead platform engineer here at Revolut. I actually joined Revolut right at the beginning in the early days. There's only a few of us in the company, so I've been there for over 2 years now. And I've seen it evolve from this initial travel card that's linked to a digital wallet you can use anywhere in the world, into what we have built today, which is more a financial hub and marketplace to really encompass all of your financial lifestyle. So I focus on the platform, the backend infrastructure, scaling that, distributing it, and also have been leading the cryptocurrency project and integration. So when I first joined Revolut, is one of my passions and something I'd really liked to see integrated into the app. And at the time, the world was not quite ready for cryptocurrency integration in their bank account. So now, at the beginning of this year, with all the media hype and focus, suddenly more and more financial service companies and partners are realizing the potential of this technology. And we decided to revisit the idea and project and see how we could really work with our key partners and come up with an implementation that would work for everyone involved.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that, Louis. And I know, I have my own Revolut account. As you know, I always say I'm very much a big fan of Revolut. So just the fact that you guys introduced this new cryptocurrencies feature, it honestly made me really happy, because it does show, I think, that the team is devoted to, giving your customers what you want. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, exactly. So this is actually one of the most demanded features we've had in the last few years. And really right from the beginning, we've been focused on this constant iteration and evolution of our platform. And the way you do that is by getting constant feedback from your user base and then integrating those ideas into the product very quickly and rapidly. And then that's kind of the direction that we follow now.
Agree, and actually in line with that, I wanted to go over, we're already getting a few questions from the audience, but there's one here from Pete who's saying, you have recently applied for a banking license. Will you do away with the top-up limited on accounts, so customers will be able to deposit any amounts throughout the year?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because actually whether or not we have a banking license won't change these initial top-up limits. And the good thing that for you, Pete, is actually at the moment, if you need your limit increased, you can do that within the app. You just need to provide source of funds. So that's within the profile section. Or if you have an example of a large purchase you wish to make. So an example of that would be in the past, we've had users that wish to, say, buy and sell houses through Revolut, who maybe have a house abroad and they want to buy it or sell it and transfer the funds through the Revolut platform. Then their limit of the 25K would not be sufficient there. So then they can just speak to our support team, follow the source of funds and due diligence process like any kind of normal financial services company, and then we can actually increase your limit to satisfy your requirements. And there isn't really no upper limit as long as you can prove the source of your funds and you have sufficient evidence for that.
Okay, great. Thanks for clarifying that, Lewis. So I know this is a slide that you have also on the insane growth you've experienced throughout the year. Could you talk through this a bit?
Sure, yeah. So it's been a crazy year this year. Our growth is kind of accelerating at a faster and faster pace. But this kind of gives you a little insight and snapshot into the kind of growth we've seen. So we launched just over 2 years ago now publicly. And in that time, we've accumulated over 1.1 million users now. And that's across the EEA area, so European Economic Area. And at the moment, we're averaging around 4,000 new users a day onto our platform. And yeah, we've transacted over $7 billion worth of volume since we've launched. And as I say, this is continuing to grow. And as we add new features, really kind of look to improve our platform and product based upon users' feedback, we're seeing that only accelerate, which is really great. And I guess one of the key things for us that we're particularly proud of is that growth has all been organic and viral. So we haven't spent any money on marketing campaigns through traditional or other means. It's all been between users sharing with their friends, family, because they genuinely believe in the product, which is really nice to see.
And so in line with that growth, we have 3 different questions from the audience, all asking, when will the service be available in the US?
Yeah, we have massive demand for the US, and we are listening. We are listening. So what we currently have set up is a US waiting list. So if you are a resident of the US, then you can download the app and immediately sign up to our waiting list. So you'll be informed as soon as we go live, and you'll be at the front of the queue. And we are actually in the process of getting all of the partnerships and regulation in place to enable us to operate over there. At the moment, the estimate is Q1 of next year. We'll be able to launch in the US market. And that will be our complete offering.
Perfect. Great news for all of our American users then. So yeah, these are Lewis's contact details if you wanted to ask any additional questions, especially to those of you who might not have been able to join us live and are listening to the on-demand recording. There they are. Please feel free to get in touch. And now let's move on to some of the questions that I prepared for Lewis. So could you tell us a bit about the launch? I know that I think it's this week, which is the official launch. You were in beta, I think, last week. And could you just, I guess, walk us through the actual process?
Sure, yeah, of course. So yeah, we actually went through quite rigorous testing, as you can imagine, for such a feature. So we had an internal launch for a number of weeks. We then allowed a portion of our beta list, so that's public users, to then access the platform early. And then to make sure that we keep up with demand, we then rolled it out and launched it at the end of last week with this early access feature where if you're a premium user or you invite a few friends, you can gain direct access to cryptocurrencies. So if I just quickly describe what it is we're actually offering, and that kind of set the context. So one of the biggest issues I've observed personally, and many people in the office have observed the same pain, is that even now, currently, with all of the focus on cryptocurrencies, it's still very difficult for someone who doesn't come from a financial services background or doesn't come from a technology background to really get very simple access to and exposure to cryptocurrencies. There's a huge barrier to entry, and you suddenly have to understand a lot of domain knowledge, a lot of terms, and a lot of technologies that maybe are not familiar or you haven't ever had to look at before. So what we wanted to do is actually lower that barrier to entry and make it very simple for someone to exchange their fiat funds, so such as pounds, dollars, euros, into cryptocurrency and back again at a touch of a button, without having to worry about private keys, like cryptography, where to store your wallet, whether it's online, offline, in cold storage, hardware wallets, all of these terms that kind of seem quite daunting for many people. So we wanted to treat it just like any other currency. So in our app, you can hold 25 fiat currencies and instantly exchange between them. You can load in those currencies. And we thought, why not treat digital currencies in exactly the same manner? So we introduced Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ether, as you can see in the screenshots, into our app in the same platform and in the same way as the other currencies we have currently. And we've made it very simple for you to go in and say, okay, I want to buy £10 and convert that into Litecoin. You can do that via the exchange screen instantly. And one of the big things we wanted to do was not only simplify the process, we wanted to make it very transparent and very quick and easy. So what we also noticed is that in the marketplace, if you try and look at the current ways of buying and selling cryptocurrencies, it's very opaque to how they price the purchasing and the selling. So there's often hidden fees, there's markup in the rates, maybe they charge you for holding it, maybe they charge you for withdrawals, maybe they charge you for depositing funds. And if you add all these up, they can accumulate to kind of 4 or 5, up to 8% plus on the kind of average market price. And we thought this is kind of very unfair for users, that it wasn't upfront exactly how much they'd be paying to get one Bitcoin or one Litecoin. And also thought that if we're finding it hard doing research to try and compare some of these other players in the market, then a lot of users must be either not realizing all of the hidden fees and markup, or they must just be accepting it because they don't know of an alternative. So what we wanted to provide is one clear strategy where we look at some exchanges that we've partnered with, and we've partnered with a number of different regulated and licensed cryptocurrency exchanges, one of those being Bitstamp, and we then look at their order books live, and we then drive our price from the liquidity in the market, and we just add on a 1.5% fee, and that's all. There's no other fees to use our platform, no other fees for loading your funds via debit card, via bank transfer. And yeah, if you want to get out of your position and transfer from your cryptocurrency back into fiat, you can do that at a touch of a button. There's no issues of going through advanced order types or a delay with confirmations on the blockchain. We just do that instantly within the app. And then we have these other nice features where you can then view the graphs every time. You can look at your different currency pairs. We even offer currency pairs that aren't really traded, such as Polish zloty, Aussie dollar, Singapore dollar, et cetera, et cetera.
Perfect. Thanks for that. And so my next question actually is, what can we expect from the next phase? So I'm asking this specifically because I've seen on Twitter especially that the Revolut Twitter handle has been getting a lot of questions since the announcement of his launch as to what's the next currency you're going to be integrating in. And we actually have a question from the audience who is specifically asking any chance of adding Ripple to the app. Sure.
Yeah, so in terms of, I'll answer the Ripple one first, maybe. So we actually are in the same building as the Ripple team. So we've been in close conversations with them recently to look at, is it possible and feasible for us to add this into the app, and how would we do it? So that's something we are definitely considering, and it's something we would like to introduce, but there are a number of technical and operational considerations that need to be thought about before we can just add any cryptocurrency into our application. But watch this space for sure. And in terms of what's next, we're really looking at evolving this offering into something that has the best user experience and has the greatest usability. So even some of the feedback that has come out of the beta and the launch for this past week has been great from our users. And we've now implemented some of those changes already, and they're going to be going live in the next few days. So an example of that is users are finding it very difficult to see how much a single unit of a cryptocurrency was in their base currency or in the currency they wish to exchange to. So for example, how much is one Litecoin in pounds? And obviously, if you're buying or selling, we were then inverting that rate between. So as a fractional representation of a Litecoin, it's very difficult then to see, okay, £1 is 0.00 and you work out the fractional units. So instead, we're always now showing £1, one Litecoin is equal to in pounds, one Bitcoin is equal to in pounds, and one Ether, what that is equal to in pounds on the exchange screen. And then we've also added some other features like, because now you're dealing with 10 to the power of 8 of fractional units, typing those out on the exchange screen is quite laborious and often prone to error. So instead, you can actually now tap the balance. This is already live in the production app. You can actually touch the balance from the exchange screen and it automatically fills in that balance into the input field. So these little tweaks like that we feel is really going to improve the user experience, and it's direct feedback we're getting from people using this feature day to day. And one final one actually is quite exciting that a lot of people have asked for is seeing what their total value of their holdings are in a fiat currency. So for example, if they're holding Bitcoin, how much is that currently worth in pounds or in euros or in dollars? And so our team have actually implemented that, and that will be going live as of next week. So now on our main wallet screen, you'll be able to see just underneath your cryptocurrency holdings, the value in your base currency. And your base currency is the currency of the country where you've registered. So if it's in Europe, it'll be euros. If it's in the UK, it'll be pounds. And then it should be a quick and easy way for people to see, okay, this is how much my cryptocurrency is currently worth. I don't have to go through this kind of long process of going to the exchange screen, typing in the amount I want to check, and then seeing what the equivalent is in their domestic currency.
Great, thanks for that, and something to look forward to. So next week already, you say, is the launch of that one?
Yeah, those small features, will be coming out in an app update next week. So things like that, they're great ideas and it's great feedback. And you often don't get it when you're kind of building the product yourself because you're so engrossed in the development. You miss some of the very simple usability enhancements that can be made. So it's great that our users are very engaged, and we have a feedback list. We have a crypto beta email list, and people can email that with any suggestions they have. And we do read every single one, and we do try and take them all on board and integrate them into our roadmap if possible.
Okay, thank you. So I know I started this session off by talking about the recent news reports about the very much increased adoption of cryptocurrencies. So next question for you is, has crypto gone mainstream in your opinion? And the what now bit, I guess, is how do you think this will change the offerings that financial services professionals will need to give for their customers?
I think definitely cryptocurrency has gone mainstream, especially in the last few months. And now you're seeing that Bloomberg now on their terminal are even listing Litecoin, Ether, and Bitcoin now, prices which are being streamed directly from the exchanges. You're seeing the futures market launch at the beginning of the week, and more institutions are pumping money into cryptocurrencies. And I feel that for us, we're one of the first challenger banks, especially in Europe, to be able to offer cryptocurrencies directly from within a banking alternative app. And we're really kind of happy that we've been able to lead the way there. And we're hoping that by showing people that actually it's not quite as scary as they thought, and as maybe some of the documentaries portray, that actually we're going to try and legitimize and validate the reason to integrate this technology, which has huge potential. And for us, our current offering is kind of a first step in hopefully something that will evolve into as and when more and more companies adopt.
Okay, thank you. So next question from me. Oh, sorry, 1 second there. So what are some of the biggest consumer challenges that you've heard about when it comes to crypto trading? Or what have been some of the pain points that your customers have?
Sure. So I think for a lot of people, it's actually getting their fiat funds, whether that's pounds, whether it's euros or it's dollars, into the exchange initially. So actually there's not really any exchanges that will accept GBP directly. So you often initially have to convert your funds into euros before even sending it, or be at the mercy of your bank and allow them to do the exchange for you. But then you do not know the rate you're getting, and you don't know the fees up front often. So that's kind of a big hurdle. And then fees and costs aside, it's actually the time it takes to get in. So often, if I want to transfer some funds via traditional banking routes, it will take 1 to 2 days to actually land in my exchange or in my retail cryptocurrency account. So I think the fact that we've managed to say now you can top up via your debit card, that takes seconds. You can then buy cryptocurrency in another kind of 5 to 10 seconds. So the whole process end to end can take you 30 seconds to suddenly buy Bitcoin is a huge game changer. And hopefully it will show others how they can really improve the user experience by reducing this time to market.
Thanks for that. And there's an audience question actually that I want to take up now, because it's very much in line with the last question that I have for you, was how do you overcome security and regulatory concerns? And someone from the audience similarly is asking, can I just ask why there is a top-up limit? Is it AML or KYC? Is that it? And for those out there, AML, anti-money laundering, KYC is know your customer.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There is a top-up limit because of the AML regulations. KYC, know your customer, is more about proving that the user who has signed up to your platform is who they say they are, and the details they've given are legitimate. So that process happens during the onboarding phase, and we go through the usual process of checking driving licenses, ID cards, or passports against their home addresses and their bank accounts. But then once we've proved you are who you say you are, the limit is in place because of these extended due diligence that's required for larger funds. So we put this initial limit in place, and then, as I say, you can speak to our support to increase that if you need to, and all you need to do then is just prove that the source of your funds are legitimate, and we have some kind of audit trail on record. But it shouldn't be a long, arduous process. It's just a case of us making sure that we feel comfortable that the funds are coming from a legitimate source. And that's part of our obligation as a FCA regulated firm.
Okay,
so we have placed sorry. I was just going to add, so even though cryptocurrencies don't have kind of regulation in the UK yet and many places across Europe, we're basically applying the same frameworks and same processes we have for our fiat currencies to cryptocurrencies to ensure that we're upholding this kind of high level of confidence and security around the regulation. And when it comes in place, we'll be very well prepared and positioned.
And just to add to that as well, Lewis, so I know that a lot of people, when it just regards to cryptocurrency in general, the security concerns are out there. What
Yes.
have you done within your new feature to make sure that, to, I guess, ease your customers' minds that whatever cryptocurrencies they are putting in there, it is safe and it's secure?
Sure. So we've only partnered with the leading cryptocurrency exchanges that both have very good regulatory frameworks in place or are working with the regulators in their respective countries, and they have payment or money transmission licenses. And what that then means is that they've gone through audits, they have reserves, they have regular penetration tests, and all of these things that we expect when we're carrying out due diligence on our partners, we obviously also flip and look at ourselves. So we have regular penetration tests on our infrastructure. We don't have any, in our core infrastructure, there is no cryptocurrencies being held or any transfer of private keys. So even if our core infrastructure went down, we would not be exposed. We've actually partnered with a number of leading cold wallet storage providers who are tried and tested in the industry and have sufficient safeguards in place. So we've done everything we can to ensure that we use cold storage, multi-signature, we rotate passwords. No one person has access to any of these cryptocurrencies. It goes through a number of different processes before anyone can get access. And everything is automated and restricted through constraints in code.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that, Lewis. So now that's the end of the questions that I prepared for Lewis. I know that you guys have been sending in some questions, those of you who are watching live now. Again, to those of you who are catching the on-demand recording, feel free to send your question in via the feedback box, and I'll send them over to Lewis. Also, if you want someone else for us to interview, so for our ongoing series, send as well your recommendation via the feedback box. So now we're going to go over the questions we already have from our live audience. Continue to send those through, and we'll put them in the queue. So this one is a more simple, I think, general Revolut question. Do I need to have a bank account to open a Revolut account?
So currently, yes, because you'll need to transfer funds in via a banking means or routes such as SEPA, SWIFT, fast payments, or you'll need to top up via a debit or credit card. To actually use the Revolut account, one of your friends or family, another contact on Revolut could send you funds to fund your account. That is also possible. That we don't do a bank account check on the sign up, but we do onboard you via the usual KYC process. So you would need to pass that to have your account opened. But that's a quick process and only takes a few minutes.
Perfect. Thank you. Next one. So the 1.5% fee that you talked about earlier to enter, this person is asking, is there another 1.5% fee to exit?
Yeah, so how it's calculated is we use the average price from the exchange, and then there's 1.5% on the rate, and that's it. So you would be hitting that on both sides of the transaction. It's whenever you go between crypto or fiat crypto, then we're very transparent about the fact that there's a 1.5% markup in the rate already.
Okay, thank you. Next one is another expansion question. Will this service be extended to the Caribbean?
Again, it's something we are looking at. We have huge expansion plans for next year. We're looking at US, Canada, we're looking at Asia Pacific, Australasia. So the Caribbean will definitely be, or is one we are looking at. Again, timelines for the US or Q1, I would expect the Caribbean to follow shortly after that.
Thank you. And actually, so this one wasn't sent in via the questions box, but I actually told, we have a lot of crypto enthusiasts and Revolut fans at in the BrightTALK office. So I actually passed the question around and said if anyone had any questions to send some through. So here's one from someone at BrightTALK. Can I send crypto bought on Revolut over to my personal wallet?
Yeah, so at the moment, in this initial phase and offering, you cannot send the cryptocurrency to an external wallet, whether that's a third-party wallet or one that you own yourself. And that's something we're constantly reviewing and would like to look into the feasibility to open that up in the future. But right now, it's a closed system, and it's more about getting people very simple, transparent, and low-cost access and exposure.
Okay, thank you for that. This is another question that says, this begs the question why someone who isn't in the financial services industry or has the background that you mentioned, why would they want to get involved in cryptocurrencies to begin with? Do you see Revolut as an investment platform?
I think, yeah, this is a good question. I would simply say that many users and many friends and family of mine are suddenly, in the last few weeks and months, wanting to get some exposure to cryptocurrencies. And I think a lot of that is driven by the hype in the media. And so many of those individuals maybe do not understand online technology yet, but they see the huge fluctuation in prices and hope that they can catch it at the right time. So what we're doing is allowing someone, if they wish, to speculate, but also you can then buy and hold and or spend on our card, and we'll do the dynamic conversion for you. So we're basically offering you another way of gaining exposure with a few key kind of features that you maybe don't get otherwise.
It's interesting as well, because I think that I can speak for myself and many people that, like you said, I know, who do not have a financial services background or the background that you mentioned previously as being involved in actually being more sophisticated investors. But yes, I think that, like we talked about, cryptocurrencies have gone mainstream, and there are a lot of new and amateur investors, especially those who are within the millennial generation, who are very, very interested in investing and in taking part in the revolution. And I think that, like you said as well, the biggest barrier to entry is they don't really know where to start. So I think being able to play to those challenges, first of all, is very important.
Yeah, no, I think that by really lowering the barrier to entry and giving someone a very simple and easy to use platform that is familiar to them because it operates in the same way as fiat currency, then you're increasing their awareness, and hopefully their curiosity means that then once they've bought some, they will do a bit more reading and become a bit more knowledgeable in the space.
Yes, agree. Question from the audience. This one, I'm not quite sure. Could you please clarify to whoever asked this? I'm not sure if you understood this, Lewis. This person is asking, is the sign different for an interested US-based resident? Perhaps they mean, is the sign-up process?
Oh, I see. No, so if you download the app and you are a US-based resident currently and you don't have a visa or a passport from the EEA area, then yeah, you will have to sign up to our waiting list. But that's all presented within the app as soon as you sign in. So you sign up your number, sign up your email address, and we will keep you informed as soon as we open that up to the public.
Okay, thank you. Another one again from the BrightTALK office. This is from Cameron. Will crypto transfers be instant, or will there be the delay of the blockchain during busier times, like Bitcoin taking several hours sometimes?
No, so all of our cryptocurrency exchanges are instant. And we then, in the same way as we offer instant exchanges between USD and euros, we offer instant exchanges between USD and Litecoin, and we then manage the digital currency risk in the background. So you don't have to worry, because this is an off-chain transaction, it's on with our own internal ledger, you don't have to worry about gaining multiple confirmations or congestion in the mempool on the blockchain.
Okay, thank you. So here's another security question from the audience. This person is asking, is it true that if we lose the cryptocurrency during a security breach of your platform or any platform, I would not be able to get it back? I heard that this is the state of the industry. Do you see any changes on the horizon?
I think for cryptocurrencies, they empower individuals to really take responsibility of their own finances in a way that we've not seen before. So currently we have bricks and mortar banks that will protect your assets, your cash, whatever that may be, in their vaults. And they have a whole process around managing that. If you have a breach, if you're compromised, they have teams that will monitor your transactions in real time, that will be able to reimburse you in case of a security breach. Whereas here, this decentralized digital currencies are saying that if you want to, you can take full control and basically become your own bank. You can manage in entirety the whole security policy and process around that, which I totally be the first to admit that is not for everyone, and not everyone will want to do that, even if they can. So I think how the industry is going to change is that you're going to see more and more companies that will become trusted custodians, and maybe through a multi-signature wallet. So this is where they would hold one key, you would hold one key, and then there would be a third key that it would be encrypted with a password or phrase that only you know, and they would hold that second key as well. But crucially, without your password or passphrase or your key, the company or custodian in this case would not be able to access those funds. And I think improving those offerings and making them very usable and user-friendly will really have a huge impact on the industry. Because otherwise, what this question is alluding to is that if someone gets hold of your private keys, you're right that once they have those, then they have full access to your funds and you have no recourse over those funds.
Okay,
so there's a real spectrum here of users. I think if you are very technical and you want to take full control, you will be able to. If maybe you're happy for a third party to look after the security of those funds, I think those offerings will also exist and coincide in the industry.
Thanks, Louis. And also just to let you know, that the team from BrightTALK, someone said that he really loved your answer to his question on transferring between wallets, and he said, I will now use Revolut for crypto transfers.
Thank you very much. Great to hear.
And so again, I think we have many people residing in the US who are wanting to get on board on the Revolut bandwagon. This audience member is asking, if someone lives in the US but has a UK passport and bank account, can they enroll now? If yes, how do they start?
You can sign up to the platform now. Yeah, you just need to download the app and register through our usual onboarding process and prove that you have UK citizenship. So I'd say that usually takes only from a fresh start. That takes only a few minutes. You'd enter your phone number, enter some personal details. You'd do your KYC documents. So that's a picture of your ID, your passport or driving license, and a picture of your face. That will get reviewed in only a few minutes, and then you should have your account ready to go.
Perfect, thank you. And now another audience question. So, big news also in recent months that Revolut has put in the request for a banking license. So this user is asking, what are the benefits for Revolut with getting a banking license?
Sure, it's a good question. So there's a few reasons why we are getting a banking license. And the main one really is that at the moment we can offer all financial services around your usual current account without a banking license. But the only thing we can't do is offer credit and actually loan out deposits. So most banks, they don't make their money off of a current account, they actually make it off of their credit function. Whether that's overdrafts, whether that's loans, whether that's mortgages, that's where most of their revenue is generated. And the way they do that is they're actually loaning out customer deposits and funds. And that's the reason you get interest on your account, is because by depositing your funds with them, you're allowing them to lend them out to third parties, and they give you a bit of interest off the back of that. So for us, getting a banking license will allow us to offer a wider and more diverse set of features, such as credit offerings, overdrafts, credit cards, or loans that we can't do currently unless we partner with another company that offers that. So we currently offer short to medium term loans within our app, but is actually using a third-party service. Whereas if we manage the credit risk internally, we can maybe offer a more innovative product or a more diverse product and feature set based upon that.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, more questions coming in. Please go ahead and send them. We still have time to answer any of the ones that, for those of you who haven't sent any in yet. So this one, Louis, you're going to be, I don't know if you want to be responsible for making this prediction, but we have a user who is asking, what are the chances for Bitcoin to collapse?
Yeah, this is a difficult question. I would not want to try and predict this. Or the only advice I give anyone when they ask me about predictions on pricing of digital currencies, I should always say that due to the volatility, you should only invest the amount of money that you're willing to lose. Because with any of these digital currencies, they could fall to zero. That's theoretically possible. Whether they will, I wouldn't like to say. But if you just abide by the rule that I'm willing to lose X amount of funds, then you'll be pleasantly surprised if they go up.
Yeah, very true. And I think one of our biggest speakers on BrightTALK as well is David Siegel, who's very much known in the blockchain world. And one of the things that I learned the most from him as well, I know it's a very obvious response, but it's something that people I think often forget, is Bitcoin, for those who are new in the crypto investing game, is the main coin that they hear about, the main currency they hear about. So it's very common that I've seen that everyone puts all their eggs in one basket into Bitcoin. And David Siegel has always said, he is not one to give financial advice either, but his recommendation is always to have a diversified portfolio when it comes to any investment, and most especially in cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that you need to diversify, and that doesn't mean just diversify in cryptocurrencies. That means diversify across all asset classes, and only put into those different investments what you can afford to lose.
Yes, very much agree. So next question we have here, it's in line with that again, I guess, is if Bitcoin collapses, how will it impact Revolut?
So we are not doing any proprietary trading or taking on a huge risk ourselves. We're just offering a service on behalf of our users, and they are gaining the exposure to cryptocurrency. So as it goes up and rises, and you return on your money or original principal, or if it drops and you actually lose more than you originally put in, then that's actually the end user that will be exposed to that. So we're not taking active positions. We're just providing a service and offering for our users. And if they wish to accept the risks and our terms, that's their own decision.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Another question about data sharing. So this audience member is asking, do you have any restrictions to keep account customer data physically in a country? Some concerns about opening an account for a Canadian and keeping its data outside of Canada.
Sure. So some of the countries we're looking at, it may or may not be a regulatory requirement, but some of the partners in those countries do mandate that certain data should be kept in that particular region. So we are working very closely with our many partners globally to ensure that we adhere to their policies and their requirements. And we can do that because we built our whole platform in the cloud, and that means we have a very simple way of distributing globally very quickly. We don't have to kind of build out or buy into huge data centers around the globe. We can just expand our offering into all the regions that our cloud provider allow us to.
Thank you. And next audience question is, what sort of interest rate do you think you will be able to offer for deposits?
Yeah, I can't really give any detail at this time. That's currently being worked out and analyzed by the team. So we can't make any predictions or guarantees there. But it's something we're definitely looking at, and once our license comes in, that will become more of a possibility. Okay.
Next question. You said that you do not have the private keys of the customer's holdings. Do you not have it at all?
No, sorry. To clarify that, what I was saying is that on our core infrastructure that runs our mobile app, that runs our payment processing, that runs our remittance services, none of the private keys are stored on our infrastructure. They are all stored in cold storage. They're offline storage, and there is complete segregation. So that's done on purpose so that even if our infrastructure was compromised to go down, there's still no direct route to the cold storage where the private keys are kept.
Okay, thank you. And for those who are online, we still have a few minutes left. We have about a couple more questions already in the queue. So if you have any more, please make sure to send them in now, as after we go through these last few ones, we'll be ending this session with Lewis. So one question, a little general, I guess, a little idealistic, but this one is, will you be able to use Revolut for a cashless society in the future? So predicting that the future will be cashless, how do you, I guess, envision Revolut playing into that world?
Sure. So I'm a big believer that a physical card will go away, and we're already starting to see that with Apple Pay, Android Pay, and Samsung Pay. These digital wallets allow you then to have multiple cards, physical cards on your phone, and you can use contactless to make a payment or a purchase. So in the future, I think that it would be very simple for us within our platform to get rid of the physical card and do everything through your phone or handset. We already offer virtual-only cards that you can use for e-commerce and online shopping. And the transition from physical to digital is not too much of a leap, to be honest.
Okay, thanks for that.
And it's personally something that I would like to see, because cash for me is a huge inconvenience in this day and age.
I agree. I never carry cash on me, so that's always something that I think of as well. Is that even when I see my random moment, whenever I see a busker as well, I always think if I really enjoyed their music, I wish that they had some contactless form of me to actually give them some money. And I know some buskers already do this, so if that could be more widespread, that would be amazing.
They should just have a QR code of their
I know.
Bitcoin wallet address, and then you can send them some cryptocurrency instantly.
I agree. So last question we have for you, Lewis, today. Again, from the audience, before we end, what are your guidelines when you consider adding a new cryptocurrency to your portfolio?
Sure. I assume this is talking about Revolut's portfolio and not me personally. So answering it from that perspective, we look at the liquidity. So how deep the liquidity is in the marketplace and where we can source that liquidity. So by that, I mean, is the digital currency actively traded? Are there enough regulated or licensed exchanges that offer it? And what is the current performance in the market? And then once you've done that, we then speak to these partners and understand whether it's something that we can work with them on. And then finally, but most importantly, is there a way that we can securely store this in cold storage? So a lot of the cold storage providers have limited support at the moment for cryptocurrencies. There's
so sorry to go off there because we have less than 10 minutes, 10 seconds.
Sure.
But thank you so much, Evan, for joining us. Thank you so much, Lewis, and we hope to see you all again soon. Leave your feedback and goodbye.